Kids Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Barry Trammell. Time for our 5 and 5 segment. Barry, we're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff. Russell Westbrook. We're going to talk about Oklahoma State and their NCAA tournament hopes. But let's start with signing day. We just are coming out of signing day, so let's start down in Oklahoma. What's the biggest signing day news for the Sooners?
Well, I mean, to me, the biggest signing day news was the fact that L.J. Moore comes in from Fresno. That's really the only unknown going in, and the Sooners were pretty well finished. No big news. To me, the coaching staff's more interesting than who's coming in. It's who's going out. Is there going to be a change? And Bob Stoops was mum on that, so we don't know. So the signing was pretty level on the Sooners. I think the real drama to come on OU signing is later. Is Quincy Russell going to get here, the junior college tackle? He's signed, but he's still trying to get that last class passed down at Trinity Valley. Is Cody Thomas going to show up on campus, or is he going to go in the baseball draft? Who the Sooners got is not as important as are they actually going to get them.
Well, and my big question, too, on news for the Sooners is the linebacker situation, because we're hearing news trickling out from these recruits that they're talking about the move to the 3-4 defense, which we kind of suspected there might be some changes in defensive philosophy, but yet they only signed 2 linebackers in this class, and they're both guys that aren't sort of natural linebackers, guys that have played some other positions. So how will they fare if they're going to need all these additional linebackers, which, Barry, right now they don't have a ton on campus, so they're going to need Jordan Evans, they're going to need Dominique Alexander to play, probably as true freshman at linebacker. So how do they do? Remains to be seen. All right, what about at OSU, Barry? What's the biggest signing day news for the Cowboys?
Well, OSU sort of, they had a loss and an addition. They get Ofa, the big haven't learned his last name yet. Sorry, Ofa. I'll apologize.
Could there be a better name for a lineman, though?
It's a great name.
Really?
That's why I'm calling him Ofa. But the JUCO defensive tackle from Snow Junior College, you can never get enough defensive tackles, and the Cowboys got 7 defensive linemen, so that's a good haul. That's good. They lost Fred Ross going to Mississippi State. But you'll trade a wide receiver for a defensive tackle any day of the week. So I think the news was solid for OSU, nothing major.
I think the biggest news is they've got a new offensive coordinator, but that wasn't signing day. That was signing day the day after.
Yeah, or March 1st, whichever comes first.
Whatever Mike Gundy doesn't say is probably the case when you're talking about that. But no, I think the big news was losing Fred Ross. I mean, obviously, the first guy to commit to Oklahoma State. He'd been committed for longer than anybody else, and on signing day eve, he decides he's headed to Mississippi State. A definite loss for Oklahoma State. And I tell you why it's a loss is because if you look at the number of wide receivers and the number of true freshman wide receivers who played this last year, there was a ton of them for this team. And they obviously are not opposed to using young wide receivers. So you got to think if Fred Ross becomes a Cowboy, he becomes a player next year. So they've lost a guy that was a really talented wide receiver. They've obviously got 2 others coming in who are just almost as highly regarded, but still, you've got a guy that would have played next year if you carry out the way things have gone, and now they don't have him. All right, Barry, let's head to the hardwood for a second. Hey, is Serenity now Russell Westbrook here to stay? What has gotten into this guy?
Heck no, this guy. This is what he always does. He always goes cuckoo and then he comes back.
Now, wait a second. He doesn't go as calm as he's been these last couple games.
Well, he sometimes goes under the radar, for crying out loud. I mean, this guy, Peter Pan's got to sleep sometimes, so no, I don't have any. Russell Westbrook's going to blow again, and when he does, we're just going to have to live with it, us and the Thunder and everybody else. It's not that big a deal as long as I do think this. I do think Russell's probably embarrassed about that stomp off the court the other night. I mean, I think that was, some of the stuff he does, he doesn't even realize you shouldn't do that. The pouting on the court and the hollering at teammates. I don't think he gets that. I think he got this. I think he realizes, hey, that was over the line. I shouldn't do that. I think he is making a concerted effort. But he can't change who he is. I'm not sure we want him to change, or I'm not sure the Thunder wants him to change. But no, sit on Serenity now, Russ, at your own peril. It's not here to stay.
I'm not betting on him being here to stay, but I tell you what, it's pretty impressive to see Serenity now, Russ, because he's really a fantastic player for this team. I got a chance to see him in person Monday night when the Thunder dismantled the Mavericks. Saw him on TV against Golden State on Wednesday night, and he's every bit as intense when it comes to driving the ball, being defensive-minded. But if you're waiting for the arms to go in the air, for the face to scrunch up, for something to go completely wrong, it never happens. I think he yelled at the official once in the Golden State game, and I was like, uh-oh, here we go. But he calmed it down. I don't think he's here to stay, but I think he's pretty good for this team. Hey, our fun question of the week, Barry. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, he wore a hat the other night after the game that said, "Maintain the mystery," was on his ball cap. So what message belongs on your ball cap?
Well, I mean, I only wear one ball cap, and it's an old Oklahoma City Indian cap. It says OKC. There's not a whole lot of mystery. I don't think there's a lot of mystery about Russell Westbrook. If he thinks he's got us fooled, I think he's wrong. I don't know, but you know what? I like that OKC ball cap I wear, though. I think that's a fun message because.
What about number one grandpa?
Well, I mean,
you have a mug?
You don't have to. You don't have to proclaim that. It's actually I got on my truck on the front license plate, the fake license plate. It's Papa Bear on there. So. I proclaim it in other ways, but I like the message of OKC because that cap I wear in the mornings sort of is a good symbol for what the city's become and what it's doing, and the profile. The Thunder's part of that. Mm-hmm. Maps is part of that. The City Renaissance is part of that. Devon and Chesapeake and the successful companies are part of that. So proud of the city in which I live. There's no mystery there.
No maintaining any mystery.
No.
I'm gonna riff off your number one grandpa. I'm not saying number one mom. I'm a new mom. I have a 7-month-old at home. But I think if I could put a message out there, it would be mom in training. And Barry, as a parent, you're always in training as a parent. So I would have that from now until the time my daughter is out of my life, which I hope never happens. But it's a mystery. Talk about mysteries, parenting.
Now that is a mystery.
That is a mystery.
That's a mystery.
All right, our last question of the day heads to the hardwood one last time. This time we're talking about OU and OSU. Percent chances for the Cowboys and Sooners to be in the NCAA tournament. What is it, Barry?
I think it's high. I mean, I'm going to go OSU 90%, OU 80, 85%. I mean, they're both going to have to play their way out of it. OSU's got the better resume, got the better win at Lawrence. I mean, if you win at Kansas, they'll automatically just put you on the bracket and move you around. But so OSU would have to totally collapse, and OU would have to really lose a lot of winnable games. So I think we're gonna end the drought. OU hadn't been the last 3 seasons, OSU the last 2. We're going to end the drought with both squads this year.
I would have said a little bit lower than you, but then I went and did a little research on the numbers, and the strength of schedule and RPI for these two teams, it's off the charts. OU's strength of schedule, Barry, is 5 in the country. They had a bunch of non-conference games that maybe you didn't look at and say, wow, these are marquee non-conference games, but they also didn't have a bunch of rum-dums either in their non-conference, which helps. And then you get into Big 12 play, and you've got a pretty good run of games. So, I think OSU's definitely, they're not even on the bubble right now. But OU, obviously losing like they did to Iowa State, that wasn't pretty. But if they keep winning games they should win, I think they'll be in good shape, especially with the strength of schedule and RPI like they've got. I think both of them are headed to the tournament. And be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.